My sister Lauren told my 13-year-old daughter Emma she was too ugly to go to the school dance and should stay home so she doesn't embarrass the family. Then she posted it on Facebook where Emma's classmates saw it. My daughter locked herself in her room for 2 days. I didn't cry. I screenshot everything, and when I showed up at my sister's workplace with a manila folder in my hand, her face went pale. Her coworkers went silent. Every single one of them. The marketing director stopped mid-sentence. The intern froze with a coffee cup halfway to her mouth. Lauren's assistant actually backed away from her desk. I stood there in the doorway of her corner office, the screenshots printed and organized in chronological order, and I watched my sister realize that for the first time in 38 years, I wasn't going to let it go. Let me tell you how we got here, because this didn't start with Emma. This started the day I was born second. Lauren is 41. I'm 38. Growing up, those 3 years might as well have been a decade. She was the pretty one, the successful one, the one our mother introduced first at every family gathering. I was the quiet one. The one who got decent grades, but not great ones. The one who wore Lauren's hand-me-downs until I was 16 and finally got a part-time job at the grocery store just so I could buy my own clothes. Our mother used to say Lauren had star quality. She never said what I had. The pattern was established early. When Lauren got engaged to Marcus at 24, our mother threw her a surprise engagement party at the country club. 80 guests. A string quartet. When I got engaged to David at 26, my mother took us to dinner at Olive Garden and suggested we keep it small since David was still in graduate school. Lauren became a marketing executive at a tech firm by 28. I became an accountant. When Lauren bought her first house, a 4-bedroom colonial in the expensive part of town, our mother helped her pick out furniture. When David and I bought our modest 3-bedroom ranch, my mother said it was cute and asked if we were sure we could afford the mortgage. I never corrected her, but I started paying attention. I started noticing exactly how much money flowed through the companies I audited, exactly which investments paid off, exactly which business models actually worked versus which ones just looked impressive. I took my CPA exam and passed on the first try. Then I took the CFE. Then I started doing freelance consulting on the side, helping small businesses restructure their finances. David supported all of it. He was finishing his doctorate in environmental engineering and understood what it meant to build something slowly and carefully. 3 incidents stand out from those early years. The first was at Thanksgiving 2014. I was 26. Lauren had just gotten a promotion to senior marketing director. The whole family was at our parents' house, and Lauren spent 45 minutes describing her new salary, her new office, her new company car. My mother kept saying how proud she was. My aunt asked Lauren for career advice. Lauren turned to me at one point and said, "You know, Sarah, if accounting doesn't work out, you could always try something in marketing. Start at the bottom, work your way up. I could maybe get you an interview for an assistant position." My mother nodded enthusiastically. I smiled and said that was kind of her. I didn't mention that I'd signed my first consulting contract 3 days earlier. $15,000 to restructure the finances for a struggling family restaurant. I'd found $73,000 in unnecessary expenses and projected they'd be profitable again within 8 months. I went home that night and created a separate business account. I named it SGR Consulting. Sarah Grace Reynolds. I didn't tell anyone. The second incident was in 2016. David and I had been married for 2 years. Emma was 4 months old. Lauren and Marcus came to visit and brought gifts, a designer diaper bag, expensive baby clothes, a top-of-the-line stroller. My mother was there too. Lauren looked around our living room and said, "You know, Sarah, Marcus and I were talking. Once you're done with maternity leave, you should really think about finding a job with better benefits. State Farm is always hiring. Stable, good insurance, you could probably work your way up to management eventually." My mother agreed. She said stability was important now that I had a baby to think about. I thanked them both for caring. I didn't tell them I had closed a $180,000 contract that morning, helping a mid-sized manufacturing company restructure after their CFO embezzled funds. I was billing $200 an hour. I had 16 clients. I went back to work after 3 months and hired a nanny who cost more than my old accountant's salary. The third incident was in 2019. Emma was 7. We were at Lauren's house for a birthday party for her son, my nephew Owen. Huge backyard party. 70 guests. Catered food. A magician. Lauren pulled me aside at one point and said, "I've been thinking about you, Sarah. You work so hard. It must be exhausting trying to make ends meet. Marcus and I want to help. We're setting up a college fund for Emma. We'll contribute $500 a month. You don't have to pay us back." She patted my hand. I almost laughed. I'd opened Emma's college fund the week she was born. It had $94,000 in it. I was on track to have $250,000 by the time she turned 18. But I smiled and said, "That's so generous, Lauren. Thank you." Then I went home and called Patricia Reyes, the attorney I'd hired 6 months earlier to help me structure my consulting business properly. I told her I wanted everything airtight. Every contract, every LLC, every investment account. Patricia said she'd handle it. She asked why the sudden urgency. I said I just wanted to be careful. That wasn't entirely true. I wanted to be ready. By 2021, SGR Consulting had 43 corporate clients and annual revenue of $1.2 million. David had finished his doctorate and accepted a position as an environmental consultant for a firm that paid him $135,000 a year. Between us, we were clearing just under $1.4 million annually. We'd paid off our house. We had investments. We had security. And nobody in my family had any idea. I kept it quiet for reasons that made sense to me at the time. Part of it was protection. If they knew, they'd want things from me. Money, probably. Validation, definitely. But mostly it was strategic. I'd spent 30 years watching my family underestimate me. I'd learned that being underestimated gave me freedom. No one watched what I was doing. No one asked questions. No one expected anything. I could build something real without anyone interfering, without anyone's opinion or advice or judgment. David understood. Emma didn't know any different. This was just how we lived. But there were close calls. The first happened in January 2022. My mother called and asked if I could help her with her taxes. I said sure and went to her house with my laptop. While I was going through her documents, she mentioned that Lauren and Marcus had just bought a vacation house in Hilton Head for $150,000. My mother was so proud. She showed me pictures on her phone. Then she looked at me and said, "Lauren said you do taxes now." "That's nice, Sarah. Steady work." I kept my face neutral. I was sitting there with my laptop open, and if she'd glanced at the screen, she would have seen an email from a client confirming a $300,000 contract renewal. But she didn't look. She never looked. I finished her taxes, gave her a hug, and drove home. David was in the kitchen when I got there. He took one look at my face and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. Then I poured a glass of wine and sat at our dining room table for 20 minutes without moving. He sat with me. He didn't ask questions. That's why I married him. The second close call was worse. It was August 2023. Emma was 11. We were at my parents' house for a family barbecue. Lauren's company had just gone public, and she'd made a substantial amount from her stock options. She spent most of the afternoon talking about it. How she'd bought Marcus a new Audi. How they were renovating their kitchen. How they were thinking about a bigger vacation house, maybe in the Outer Banks. My mother couldn't stop smiling. My father kept clapping Marcus on the back. My aunt said Lauren was an inspiration. Emma was sitting next to me on the porch steps, and she asked in her clear, sweet voice, "Mommy, are we rich too?" Every adult in earshot went quiet. Lauren looked at me. My mother looked at me. I could see the pity on their faces. I smiled at Emma and said, "We have everything we need, sweetheart." She accepted that and went back to her lemonade. Lauren reached over and squeezed my shoulder. She said, "That's such a healthy attitude, Sarah." Teaching her gratitude. I should do more of that with Owen. I wanted to scream. Instead, I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and called Patricia. I asked her if all of our accounts were protected. She said yes. I asked her if anyone could access our financial information without our consent. She said absolutely not. I thanked her and hung up. Then I stared at myself in the mirror for a long time. Emma's question had rattled me. Not because I was ashamed, but because I realized how close we were dancing to the edge. One wrong word, one slip, and the whole careful structure would collapse. So I became more careful. I stopped bringing my laptop to family events. I set up a separate phone for business calls. I told clients to email me at my business address only, never my personal one. David and I talked about it. He asked if I was planning to tell them eventually. I said I didn't know. He asked what I was waiting for. I didn't have an answer. But then April 2024 happened, and I found out exactly what I'd been waiting for. It was a Saturday. Emma was 13. The spring dance at her middle school was coming up in 2 weeks. She'd been excited about it for months. She'd picked out a dress with David's help, a simple blue dress she'd found online. She'd asked her friend Zoe if they could go together. She'd been playing music in her room and practicing dance moves. She was happy. Lauren called that Saturday morning and asked if she could take Emma shopping. She said Owen was busy with soccer and she wanted some girl time with her niece. I hesitated. Emma was in her room doing homework. I asked Lauren what kind of shopping. She said just the mall, maybe get lunch, nothing major. Something in her tone made me uneasy, but I couldn't identify what it was. I said okay. Emma was excited. She loved spending time with her aunt. I told her to be home by 4. She hugged me and ran out to Lauren's car. They got back at 3:30. Emma went straight to her room. She didn't say hi. She didn't tell me about her day. She just went upstairs and closed her door. I heard the lock click. I waited 10 minutes, then went upstairs and knocked. She said she was fine. Her voice sounded wrong. Tight. I asked if something happened. She said no. I stood there in the hallway for 5 minutes, debating whether to push. David came upstairs and put his hand on my shoulder. He said to give her space. So I did. At 6 o'clock, my phone started buzzing. Text messages. A lot of them. From numbers I didn't recognize. I opened the first one. It was from a parent in Emma's class. It said, "I'm so sorry about what your sister posted. Let me know if you need anything." My stomach dropped. I opened Facebook. I searched for Lauren's profile. The post was right there at the top, public, posted 2 hours ago. Sometimes you have to be honest with family even when it's hard. Took my niece shopping today and had to have a real talk with her about expectations versus reality. She wanted an expensive dress for some school dance, but I told her the truth. She's too young to be worrying about boys, and honestly, she's too awkward looking right now to be the center of attention anyway. Better to stay home and focus on school than embarrass the family by showing up somewhere she doesn't fit in. Tough love is still love. She didn't take it well, but she'll thank me when she's older. I read it 3 times. Then I read the comments. 47 comments. Most of them from people I didn't know, Lauren's coworkers and college friends, saying things like, "Good for you for being honest," and "Kids need to hear the truth," and "You're such a good aunt." But mixed in were comments from parents in Emma's school district. People who recognized Emma's name. One comment said, "Wait, isn't that the girl in Mrs. Patterson's 8th grade class?" Another said, "Oh my God, this is about a 13-year-old?" 3 parents had tagged other parents. Someone had screenshot the post and put it in the school parent Facebook group. My daughter locked herself in her room for 2 days. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't come out even when David begged her through the door. I could hear her crying at night, these awful quiet sobs that made my chest hurt. On the second day, her best friend Zoe came over. Emma let her in. Zoe stayed for an hour. When she left, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Emma doesn't want to go to school anymore. Everyone's been texting her." Some of the boys made a group chat and added her to it just to tell her she's ugly. Zoe's mother came to pick her up and gave me a hug and said she was so sorry. I thanked her. I closed the door. I stood in my kitchen and felt something inside me shift into place. I didn't cry. I went to my office, the small room off the kitchen where I kept my business files. I took screenshots of Lauren's post from every angle. The original post, the comments, the shares, the notification showing it had been shared in Emma's school parent group. I documented every single detail. Then I called Patricia. It was Sunday evening. She answered anyway. I told her what happened. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to make sure this never happens again." She said, "I'll draft everything. Give me 48 hours. Monday morning, Emma finally came out of her room. She looked exhausted. She asked if she had to go to school. I said no. I called the school and said she was sick. Then I sat with her on the couch and asked her what Aunt Lauren had said to her at the mall. Emma's voice was so small. She said Lauren had looked at the dress she'd picked out online, the blue one she'd been excited about, and told her it was inappropriate. Too mature. Then Lauren had pulled Emma aside at the food court and told her she needed to be realistic. That she wasn't the kind of girl boys noticed. That she was going through an awkward phase, and it would be better to wait until high school when she'd hopefully grown into her features. Emma had tried to argue. Lauren had gotten louder. People at nearby tables had stared. Emma said she wanted to go home. Lauren had driven her back in silence. I held my daughter while she cried. David sat with us. When Emma finally fell asleep on the couch with her head in my lap, David looked at me and said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "I'm handling it." Tuesday morning, Patricia sent me the documents. Cease and desist letter citing defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. A formal demand that the post be removed and a public apology issued. Documentation of every screenshot, every comment, every share. A threat of civil litigation if our demands weren't met within 72 hours. It was thorough. It was professional. It was brutal. Patricia had also included something else, a complete financial disclosure of my business and our family assets, prepared for potential legal proceedings. She said if this went to court, we'd need to establish credibility and demonstrate harm to Emma's reputation. The disclosure showed SGR Consulting's current valuation at $2.1 million, our combined annual household income at $1.6 million, and our total net worth at just over $4 million. I stared at the numbers on the page. I'd built all of this. Quietly. Carefully. For 10 years. And my sister didn't know any of it. My mother didn't know. Nobody knew except David, Patricia, and my accountant. I'd kept it hidden because I thought I was protecting myself, protecting Emma, protecting what we'd built. But Emma was already hurt. The hiding hadn't protected her. It had just delayed the inevitable. I called my mother. I told her I needed Lauren's work address. My mother asked why. I said I needed to talk to her about something she posted on Facebook. My mother's voice got defensive immediately. She said she'd seen the post and thought Lauren was just being honest. That tough love was important. That Emma would understand when she was older. I said, "What's Lauren's work address, Mom?" She gave it to me. Then she said, "Sarah, don't make this into a big thing. You know how Lauren is. She means well." I hung up. Wednesday morning, I got dressed in my best suit. Black Armani, tailored perfectly. I'd bought it for client meetings with Fortune 500 executives. I did my makeup carefully. I pulled my hair back. I put on the pearl earrings David had given me for our 10th anniversary. I looked like exactly what I was, a woman who commanded seven-figure contracts and didn't tolerate disrespect. I picked up the manila folder Patricia had prepared. Inside were the screenshots, the legal documents, and the financial disclosure. I drove to Lauren's office. She worked at a tech marketing firm downtown. 15 floors. Her company occupied floors 8 through 12. She was on 11. I walked through the lobby in my heels, my footsteps echoing on the marble floor. The receptionist asked if I had an appointment. I smiled and said I was Lauren Carmichael's sister, and this was a family matter. She looked uncertain. I didn't give her time to think. I walked past her desk to the elevator. She didn't stop me. Floor 11 was an open office layout. Glass walls, standing desks, people in jeans and hoodies staring at computer screens. Lauren's office was in the corner. Actual walls, a door, a window view. Senior Marketing Director. I could see her through the glass, on a phone call, laughing at something. I walked through the main workspace. People looked up. I must have looked out of place in my suit, my heels, my complete composure. I reached Lauren's office. Her door was open. I walked in. She looked up. Her smile faded. She said into the phone, "I'll call you back," and hung up. She stood up. "Sarah? What are you doing here?" I closed the door behind me. Through the glass walls, I could see her coworkers pretending not to watch. I said, "We need to talk about Emma." Lauren's face changed. Not guilty. Defensive. She said, "Look, I know you're upset about the post, but I was trying to help. Emma has unrealistic expectations, and someone needed to tell her the truth." I didn't raise my voice. I said, "You told my 13-year-old daughter she was too ugly to go to a school dance. Then you posted it on Facebook where her classmates could see it." I didn't say ugly. I said awkward looking. "There's a difference." "Is there?" She threw up her hands. "This is exactly why I posted it. You coddle her, Sarah. You let her think she's something she's not." I was being honest. I opened the manila folder. I took out the first set of screenshots. I laid them on her desk. "These are screenshots of your post. All 47 comments, including the ones from parents at Emma's school." Lauren glanced at them. "So?" I took out the next set. "These are screenshots from the school parent Facebook group where your post was shared. 312 parents saw it." Her face shifted slightly. "I didn't share it there." "No. Other people did. Because you posted it publicly. About a child. She's my niece. I'm allowed to." I took out the cease and desist letter. I laid it on top of the screenshots. "This is from my attorney. You have 72 hours to remove the post and issue a public apology. If you don't, we're filing a civil suit for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress." Lauren's face went pale. Actually pale. The color drained out of her cheeks. She picked up the letter with shaking hands. She read the first paragraph. Then she looked up at me. "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious. Sarah, this is insane. It's a Facebook post. I'll delete it." "Okay. I'll delete it right now." That's step 1. Step 2 is the public apology. A public apology? For what? For trying to help my niece. I leaned forward. For telling her she was too ugly to exist in public. For humiliating her in front of her peers. For causing her so much distress that she locked herself in her room for 2 days and is now refusing to go to school. Lauren's voice went higher. Tighter. "That's not what I said. You're twisting my words." I took out my phone. I pulled up the original post. I read it out loud, word for word, in the same calm tone I used in boardrooms. When I finished, I looked at her. Which part did I twist? She couldn't speak for a moment. I watched her try to find an argument and fail. Then she tried a different approach. Her voice softened. "Look, Sarah. I know you're protective of Emma. I get it. But she needs to learn how to handle criticism. The world isn't kind." I was trying to prepare her. By telling her she's too ugly to go to a dance? By giving her a reality check before some boy does it worse. I took out the final document. The financial disclosure. I didn't say anything. I just laid it on her desk on top of everything else. Lauren looked down at it. She saw the header, Financial Disclosure, SGR Consulting, LLC, Sarah Grace Reynolds, Principal. She started reading. I watched her face change as she went down the page. Business valuation. Annual revenue. Net worth. Her eyes got wider. She looked up at me. "What is this?" "That's my business. I've been running it for 10 years. This says 2.1 million. That's the current valuation. Revenue last year was 1.6 million. She stared at me. "You're lying." I took out my phone again. I pulled up my business banking app. I turned the screen toward her. She looked at the account balance. 1.3 million. Current operating funds. She looked back at the disclosure. Then at me. Then at the disclosure again. I could see her mind trying to process it, trying to reconcile this information with the version of me she'd carried in her head for 38 years. Her voice came out different. "How?" "I built it. Carefully. Over 10 years. While you were telling me to apply to State Farm. You never said anything." "No. I didn't. Why not? Because I was watching. Learning. Waiting to see if anyone in this family would ever ask me a real question about my life. Nobody ever did. Lauren sat down. She actually had to sit down. Her hand was trembling. She put the financial disclosure down like it might burn her. Mom doesn't know about this. No. Dad doesn't know. No. Does David know? Of course David knows. He's my husband. She looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. So this whole time, when Mom was giving you money advice, when I was offering to help with Emma's college fund, when we all thought, she stopped. She couldn't finish the sentence. I finished it for her. When you all thought I was struggling. Yes. This whole time. The door opened. A woman in her 50s, professional, sharp eyes. Lauren, we have the executive meeting in 5, she stopped. She looked at me, then at Lauren's face, then at the documents spread across the desk. Should I come back? I said no. Stay. This concerns you too. I looked at the woman. Are you the marketing director? She nodded slowly. Vanessa Chin. I'm Lauren's supervisor. I extended my hand. Sarah Reynolds. Lauren's sister. I'm here because Lauren posted something on Facebook that defamed my 13-year-old daughter. The post has been shared in my daughter's school community and has caused significant emotional distress. My attorney has sent a cease and desist. I gestured to the letter on the desk. I wanted to deliver it in person and make sure Lauren understands the seriousness of the situation. Vanessa looked at Lauren. What did you post? Lauren's face was red now. It was a personal post. On my personal Facebook. It has nothing to do with work. I said it was posted during work hours. From this office. Your location tag says you were here. Vanessa picked up the screenshots. She read them. Her expression got colder with each line. When she finished, she looked at Lauren. You wrote this about your niece? A middle schooler. I was trying to give her advice. You told a 13-year-old she was too ugly for a school dance and posted it publicly? Vanessa's voice was ice. Lauren, this is a PR nightmare. If this gets out, if it gets connected to the company. I said it won't get connected to the company unless Lauren refuses to comply with the cease and desist. I have no interest in damaging anyone's career. I just want the post removed, a public apology issued, and assurance this will never happen again. Vanessa looked at me. Something like respect flickered across her face. You're the accountant, right? The one Lauren said worked in tax prep. I'm a financial consultant. I run SGR Consulting. We restructure corporate finances and handle CFO-level advisory services. Vanessa glanced at the financial disclosure, still visible on the desk. SGR. I know that name. You handled the restructure for Morrison Tech last year. I did. They went from near bankruptcy to profitable in 8 months. 7 months, actually. Vanessa looked at Lauren. Then back at me. Lauren told us you did taxes. Lauren doesn't know what I do. She never asked. The room was completely silent. Through the glass walls, I could see Lauren's coworkers watching. Not even pretending to work now. Just watching. Vanessa set the screenshots down carefully. She said, Lauren, remove the post. Immediately. Then draft a public apology. I want to see it before you post it. And I want a formal written statement for HR explaining this situation. Lauren's voice was desperate now. Vanessa, this is a personal matter. You used company internet to post defamatory content about a minor during work hours. That makes it my concern. Remove it. Now. Lauren looked at me. I met her eyes. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just waited. She picked up her phone with shaking hands. She opened Facebook. She found the post. She deleted it. It took her 3 tries because her hands were trembling so badly. When it was done, she looked up. It's gone. I said, now the apology. Sarah, please. The apology. She opened a new post. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She looked at me. What do you want me to say? I told her exactly what to say. Word for word. She typed it. I recently posted something about my niece that was hurtful, inappropriate, and wrong. I said things about her appearance and worth that no adult should ever say about a child. I caused her significant pain and embarrassment. I was completely out of line, and I apologize unreservedly to her and her parents. I have deleted the original post, and I am deeply sorry for my actions. She posted it. Then she looked at me. Are we done? I said, almost. I took out one more document from the folder. A formal written statement that Lauren would have no unsupervised contact with Emma until Emma decided she was ready, that any future contact would be on Emma's terms, and that any violation would result in immediate legal action. I slid it across the desk. Sign this. You're taking my niece away from me? I'm protecting my daughter from you. Sign it. Vanessa said, Lauren. Sign it. Lauren signed it. Her hand was shaking so hard her signature was barely legible. When she finished, I took the document, folded it carefully, and put it back in the folder. I looked at Vanessa. Thank you for your time. I looked at Lauren. If you contact Emma directly, through social media, through Mom, through anyone, the lawsuit proceeds immediately. Are we clear? She nodded. She couldn't speak. I walked out. Through the glass-walled office, past the silent coworkers, to the elevator. Nobody said a word. The elevator doors closed. I rode down to the lobby alone. I walked to my car. I sat in the driver's seat. I gripped the steering wheel. My hands weren't shaking. I'd thought they might be, but they weren't. I felt calm. Clear. Like something that had been pressing on my chest for 38 years had finally lifted. I drove home. Emma was in the living room with David, watching a movie. She looked up when I came in. How did it go? I sat down next to her. Aunt Lauren deleted the post. She posted an apology. And she agreed not to contact you unless you want her to. Emma was quiet for a long time. Then she said, What did you do? I smiled. I showed her some paperwork. David knew what that meant. Emma didn't, not yet. But she would someday. She leaned against me. Can I still go to the dance? Of course you can. Do you want to? I think so. Zoe said she'll go with me. And some other girls texted me today. They said Aunt Lauren's post was mean, and they're sorry it happened, and they think I'd look pretty at the dance. My throat got tight. You would look beautiful at the dance. She smiled. A small smile, but real. Okay. Then I'll go. That was Wednesday. Thursday morning, my mother called. She was furious. She said I'd humiliated Lauren at her workplace, that I'd threatened her with a lawsuit over a Facebook post, that I was tearing the family apart. I let her talk. When she was done, I said, Mom, do you know what I do for a living? She paused. You're an accountant. I run a financial consulting firm. I have 43 corporate clients. I made $1.6 million last year. Silence. I continued. Lauren told Emma she was too ugly to go to a school dance. She posted it publicly. Emma locked herself in her room for 2 days. If you think I'm going to apologize for protecting my daughter, you're wrong. More silence. Then my mother said, Why didn't you tell us? About the business. You never asked. She hung up. She didn't call back. Friday afternoon, Lauren sent a text. Just 2 words, I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Saturday morning, my father called. He asked if we could talk. I said yes. He came over that afternoon. He sat at our kitchen table. David made coffee and then left us alone. My father looked at me for a long time. Then he said, Your mother told me about your business. Did she? Lauren told her. After what happened at her office. I waited. He said, I'm proud of you, Sarah. I almost laughed. Are you? Yes, I am. I should have said it before. You didn't know there was anything to be proud of. I should have asked. We sat there in silence. Finally, I said, Dad, I need you to understand something. I'm not angry that you didn't ask about my business. I'm angry that nobody ever thought I was capable of having one. For 38 years, everyone in this family has assumed I was struggling, barely keeping my head above water, in need of rescue. Nobody ever looked at me and thought maybe I was doing okay. Maybe I was doing better than okay. Maybe I was successful. You all just assumed. He nodded slowly. You're right. Lauren told my daughter she was too ugly to exist in public. She did that because she fundamentally doesn't respect me or my family. She sees Emma as less than because Emma is my daughter. That's the real problem, not the post. The post was just a symptom. My father looked down at his coffee. What do you want me to do? I want you to respect boundaries. I want you to stop treating Lauren like she can do no wrong. And I want you to think about whether you want a relationship with Emma, because if you do, it needs to be one where she feels valued. He said he would try. Then he left. I haven't seen my mother since. She sent a card for Emma's birthday in June, but she didn't call. Lauren sent nothing. My aunt called once, awkward and uncomfortable, asking if we could all just move past this. I said no. She hasn't called again. Emma went to the dance. She wore her blue dress. Zoe came over beforehand, and they did their makeup together in Emma's room, giggling and playing music too loud. David drove them to the school. I stayed home because Emma said she didn't want me to embarrass her by hovering. When David got back, he showed me the photos he'd snuck from the car. Emma looked happy, confident, beautiful. She came home at 10 o'clock and said it was fun. She said 3 boys asked her to dance, and she said yes to one of them. She said Zoe was her best friend in the world. She said she was glad she went. 3 weeks after the confrontation, Patricia called. She said Lauren's attorney had reached out. Lauren wanted to know if we were still planning to pursue legal action. I said no, as long as the terms of the agreement were honored. Patricia said they'd been honored so far. No contact, no social media posts, complete silence. I said that was fine. Patricia asked if I wanted to send any message through the attorneys. I said no. There was nothing left to say. September came. Emma started 8th grade. She made new friends. She joined the volleyball team. She stopped checking her phone every 5 minutes to see if people were talking about her. The post had been deleted so thoroughly that new kids at school had no idea it ever happened. Zoe's mother told me at a parent meeting that Emma seemed like herself again. I thanked her. David got promoted in October. Department head. $175,000 a year. We went out to dinner to celebrate, just the 3 of us. Emma ordered the most expensive thing on the menu and grinned at us. We let her. On the way home, she asked if we were rich. David and I looked at each other. I said, we're comfortable. She said, that's good. Then she put her headphones on and didn't ask again. SGR Consulting hit 50 clients in November. Annual revenue projected at $1.9 million. Patricia said I should think about expanding, hiring junior consultants, maybe opening a second office. I said I'd think about it. I liked the business the way it was. Lean. Controlled. Mine. I saw Lauren once, by accident, at the grocery store in December. She was in the produce section. I was getting apples. She saw me. I saw her. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she turned and walked the other way. I finished my shopping and went home. Christmas was different. My parents invited us to their house. I said no. We spent Christmas morning at home, just the 3 of us. Emma made pancakes. David built a fire. We opened presents in our pajamas. It was quiet, peaceful, perfect. My mother called that afternoon. She asked if we were coming. I said we'd made other plans. She didn't argue. That brings us to now. It's February. Emma is still thriving. The school dance incident is a memory, something that happened and passed. She's thinking about high school now, which classes to take, which activities to join. She wants to try out for the lacrosse team. She's excited about the future. Lauren lost her position as senior marketing director in January. Vanessa told me privately when I ran into her at a networking event. Not fired, exactly. Restructured into a different role. Lateral move, technically, but everyone knew what it meant. Vanessa said it was because of performance issues, declining campaign results. She didn't mention the Facebook incident. She didn't have to. Lauren's husband Marcus filed for separation in early February. I heard about it from my father. They're selling the house. Lauren moved into an apartment in a different part of town. 2 bedrooms. My mother tried to tell me I should reach out, that Lauren was struggling. I didn't respond. As for me, I'm exactly where I've always been. Building. Growing. Protecting what matters. Emma asked me last week why Aunt Lauren doesn't come around anymore. I told her the truth, that Aunt Lauren said something very hurtful, that I asked her to apologize and give us space, and that until Emma decided she wanted to see her aunt again, we'd keep our distance. Emma thought about it. Then she said, I don't think I want to see her yet. I said that was okay. She went back to her homework. David and I have been talking about taking Emma to Europe this summer. Paris, maybe. Rome. She's never been. She's old enough now to appreciate it, to remember it. We can afford it. We can afford anything we want. That still feels strange sometimes, having this life we built in secret for so long. But it's ours. We earned it. And nobody can take it from us. My business keeps growing. My daughter keeps thriving. My marriage is solid. I wake up every morning in a house I own outright, next to a man who respects me, raising a daughter who knows her worth. I don't need my family's approval anymore. I don't need their validation. I don't need them to finally see me as successful, because their opinions stopped mattering the moment I realized it was based on nothing real. They never knew me. They never tried. So, did I go too far? Or not far enough? Tell me in the comments.